which really is talking to all the marketers. Let's see, I have. So, hi guys, welcome to the Marketing Tarot podcast. I'm excited for you guys to join me on this series, which really is talking to all the marketers all around the globe to discuss their strategy, what they're thinking right now. And we all know that marketing is probably not a one size fits all kind of a structure. So, really want to pick the brains of some of the marketers and my guests and see what they're thinking. The analogy is really in the form of a deck of cards, right? So depending upon the situation, you pick your best hand and you see whether it works. It involves some calculation, it involves some predictions, it involves some intuition. So it's really a mix of, you can say, art and science that comes into marketing. So thank you again for joining us. So with that being said, let me introduce you to our first guest. I'm very excited to have Reshmi Nair on the show. Thanks for joining, Reshmi. How are you?
Hey, hi, Charu. Thank you so much for making me a part of your podcast and happy to be the first guest. I am doing really well, excited to be here and sharing my perspectives with everyone listening to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do currently, where you are?
So for me, the journey and the reason why I chose marketing wasn't accidental. It was purely a match. For me, at least, a match made in heaven.
Wow.
I'll tell you why I say that always. When I was in school, I come from a convent school, and our teachers introduced us, our sisters, rather, used to call them, introduced us to this new class called stitching class. So what they ensured was that every day we spent 45 to 50 minutes learning a new technique of stitching. Now it could be cross stitch, and there were like at least 100 stitches that I know by now. The techniques and everything was being taught to us. The idea being, after school we don't know what you guys are going to opt for, but you all need to learn the basic survival, one of the survival skill, which is stitching. That what if your button comes off and you don't know how to stitch, right? Or you can just earn some money doing this basic job for anyone. It didn't make sense to any of us. I think I still am, and a very enthusiastic person. What happened was, I was not the monitor, the head girl, nothing. I always like to be this person who's chill and doesn't like to be like, the monitor, oh my god, now command. I never like that kind of thing. I always thought, it's easier to be with the folks and tell them, hey, can you just do this, and things get done, right? Rather than being the monitor and showing the authority. That's what I thought back then. So the teacher told all of us to get a piece of cloth to start the stitching, and they were quite strict about the color, the fabric and everything, because they believed very strongly on uniformity. So if you're getting a color, we all are wearing uniforms, so if you're getting a piece of cloth, it should be like, she gave us the shade of yellow and the fabric and everything. Now we were 12-year-old, and this was a very complex term that she had given us, that cotton and the shade color. Now for a 12-year-old back then, to understand it was complex. So anything complex you leave, right? Most of us have that habit, but for me, anything complex, pursue. I told my dad we need it, and she gave some measurements. Now that's where the fun thing happened. She told us get 11 by 11.
Yeah.
11 by 11. What she meant was 11 by 11 was ideally a centimeter, because that is almost the size of a kerchief. She didn't say centimeter, and probably none of us asked. We went back, I told my dad that we need to get, this is the fabric shade, we need this fabric, everything. My dad was like, okay, let's go. We got it the same, this was announced in the morning, the same evening we got it, okay? Now my dad is someone who is larger than life. So when you say 11 by 11, for us it was obviously, it's the bigger tablecloth size, right? Like, who will want a kerchief?
Feet. Okay.
Yeah. Chota kaun lata hai? Like, why will your teachers ask you something so similar?
Right.
I'm like, yeah, makes sense. I went with this big cloth, and I remember that day till now, because I felt so proud about myself, because I was the only one who did that. In the entire class, I came and the sister asked, guys, we have to start the class. I got everything. Nobody in the class got it because everybody forgot, and nobody took it seriously, because this was not being counted as marks or anything.
Got it.
It doesn't affect your curriculum, you don't care.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher was deeply disappointed because she went on. So we had a podium in the class. She went to the podium and said, "Guys, what is happening? Is Reshmi the only one who's getting this? And is she the only one who got the brief? XYZ, the entire 1 hour lecture she gave. Where she basically, her point was, I'm deeply disappointed in you guys. You are not taking these basic survival skills seriously." So for me, it was like, I did it, Leol didn't do it, sort of a thing. And then the teacher took me while leaving. She's like, you know what? Now everyone, by tomorrow, you all have to get this cloth. Now whatever shade Reshmi has got, that is the benchmark. You all have to get that shade.
Okay, yeah.
Whatever I said, now forget it. Just get this shade. And the shade that I got wasn't even close to the shade number she gave. And then she took me to a side while leaving. She said, Reshmi, I didn't want to say this in front of the whole class, but you got a way bigger size than I wanted. I wanted a size of kerchief. You got a tablecloth. What are you going to do now? I froze because she's right. What am I going to do now? If I go back home, my dad is going to give me a year full because he's like, what will I do with the waste cloth?
Yeah.
And you've spent money. What will I do at school? Something happened in that moment of freeze, right? I went to the podium and I addressed my class saying, girls, now that everything is approved, you all can buy this from me. I will get in the exact this for all of you. Everyone's like, wow, Reshmi is like a masiha for us, right? Like she's just getting it tomorrow and done deal. Like she will just get it to class. We don't even have to carry, just forget it.
Right.
And I said, everyone pay me 10 rupees. Okay. Everyone's like, yeah, 10 rupees, fine. And I said, I'm taking advance because I don't know if you all will pay me money, right?
No,
I mean, you're classmates for so many years, but trust issues with money. So everyone's like, and I took advance and I wrote down everyone's name. Okay, this one has paid, blah, 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 everything. Now I went back home. My mom's a perfectionist. She cut that cloth very precisely in 11 and she knows tailoring and everything. She's cut and she's done and I got extra cloth and everything. Now the funny part is that big tablecloth that I bought, because that guy is my dad's friend, he gave us that big cloth for 10 rupees. I cut that into say 7 or 8 pieces. I took each part for 10 rupees. I made a huge profit. And this from one division went to our 4 other divisions. Everyone's like, you know what Reshmi is doing? Reshmi is just getting in. Girls just get it from Reshmi, just forget it. Everyone's like, you know what Reshmi, we think you're charging us a premium. There were people who came to me and said, girls who said that, you're charging extra, we'll get it on our own. I said, okay, get it. If it doesn't get approved, then don't come to me. And they were,
that was something.
It is just 12-year-old being silly.
Wow.
And this went on for 2.5 years. Yeah, 2 years actually. After 1 year, my mom got extremely suspicious because she's like, what is that? Because every year we are changing the clock, right? Because it's full of everything. My mom was like, and my motivation to all of this was that below my building, at my mom's place, there's this vada pav wala. But back then my mom was like, you can't have so much because it's very expensive. We can't afford more than 1 vada pav a week. And I'm like, oh God, we can't afford so much. I'm like, now I have money. Now I can afford. So I used to buy it from my parents. I'm like, y'all also eat. Now that we can afford, y'all also eat. I was on cloud 9. My mom grew extremely suspicious. She's like, what is she doing with this cloth? Why is she getting so much money? And my mom was asking me, I said, Mommy, school see I'm getting money from school. I'm like, what is the scholarship she's getting? My mom realizes very quickly that this is the money. My mom then does the math. And she's like, oh, so you're getting money by selling these needlework cloths. She's just guilty, okay? And then she comes the next day to the school. She talks to the principal and she's like, you know what? My daughter has been doing this for this year, these many years. And we are so sorry. We'll donate the money back. We know this is not okay. And the principal, she just said, what Reshmi just did is called marketing and sales. There's nothing wrong in what she did, right? She just learned a skill on her own.
Wow.
So you don't need to be scared about her. I think she's already found her way out.
Chosen her path.
Yeah. That's the first time I heard the word marketing and sales. I mean, these are 2 words, but I heard the word marketing. And I'm like, if this is what marketing feels like, if this is what it makes me feel, I want to chase this feeling. The money and everything is euphoria, but the feeling of addressing, selling your story and then getting that audience to believe in what you're selling and doing, I think it just made me decide on what I want to do next without even me wanting to decide. Right? That's where my marketing journey started. And then anyone used to ask me, I said, I want to do marketing. They're like, do you know what it is? I said, no. And that's what I want to find out. And I did my bachelor masters. I did my undergrad in commerce from Mumbai. I did my bachelor's in management studies from Mumbai, and then I did my master's from Mumbai University. But in the interim, we went for intercollegiate events. We went for anything that even the word marketing was mentioned anywhere, I used to just go. So I'm like, I want to know. Right? And we had people from IIT Bombay, because my college was close to IIT Bombay, coming and saying, girls, what are these accounts and all? We don't know. We are engineering people, teachers accounts. I said, what will you do if I teach you accounts? They said, we will help you meet the marketing guru of our college. I said, okay, I'll teach you.
There you go.
Because for them, learning accounts and everything is important, because they are going, IITians mostly apply for IIM Bangalore, ABC, right? Your MBA colleges. So there your accounts is one of the top subjects.
Okay.
So accounting and everything, financial studies, that's all is taught to us in our bachelors. So I'm like, come, I'll teach you. And they are making me meet the assistant professor, etc. of marketing. And I am just, it's like butter.
Yeah.
It's going on. And then I got into the company called FCB Ulka now, but back it was called Social Connect. Okay. I did my internship there. And that's where I entered the digital world.
And when was this, Reshmi?
This was 2015.
Okay.
Then after my internship, I got an offer from Dentsu. My ex-boss joined there. So she's like, Reshmi, just come. And the best part at Dentsu was after I joined, I was the junior most person, of course. It was just me and the senior most group account manager. Everyone in between, I didn't ask, but all I got to know is everyone did a mass resignation because of something that happened internally. The group account manager told me, Reshmi, if you want the job, if you want to also leave because it's a lot of pressure, you can, but we will be hiring people in between who will be your boss and all. But she like, till then, you'll have to work your way up and you'll have to upskill like yesterday. From that time, work for at least 16 hours. This is my first job because I had to travel also and I have to work because I have to learn everything like this.
Hands-on and fast.
Yeah. Fast, exactly. And it's not like I was an exec. So an exec has to also understand what a group account manager needs from a level 1 below her, level 3 below. I was 4 level below her. So I need to fill the gap somewhere. I will goof up. I used to goof up, but she's like, it's okay, but still fill whatever you can. That helped me work on brands like Cadbury, Auximberg, HDFC, crazy accounts like that. That's when I put a tweet out saying, guys, what's PR? Because everyone keeps telling me, Reshmi, you're good at PR. When you talk, it seems like you're a PR person. I said, chalo, let's explore. And that I got a few retweets thanks to a few good folks there. It reached my then ex-boss as in my PRX, to be boss back then. She DM'd me. She's like, I saw your tweet. I am not running an education company. I'm running a PR company. You can join me and I'll teach you what PR is. I said, okay, what do I have to lose? The cushy job. I think I'm working 16 hours, so nothing is cushy. It's just a chair for me. And it was 2 years of PR, restaurant PR, personality, everything. Again, hectic because very small team managing multiple clients. Understood PR, great, going 2 years there. Again, I realized that everything is just going down to just PR. Where is marketing again, right? I came across one of the article and I DM my first brand, right? And I thought, like, you know what, let's go brand side. And I DM them saying, guys, y'all are on Bombay Times. And do y'all even know y'all are on Bombay Times? Because I don't see that on your social media. These are the 10 things you can do on your social media. Please do it. And if your current marketing manager is not doing it, you'll really need someone better.
Oh, that's smart. That's smart.
Yeah. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm being blunt. And if this is the manager who's reading it, I am not coming for your job. Coincidentally, there was no marketing manager. There was the founders who are replying. They said, hey, this is the founder of the brand. Why don't you come and meet us? And they wanted to meet me at McDonald's because they're like, we thought you're a spam. Because I had a private account with very few followers.
Right. This was via Instagram, not even LinkedIn or, okay.
Nothing. This was pure Instagram. Then I met them and they like, listen, do you even understand how to run a digital first or how to market a digital first brand?
Yeah.
I said, I don't. And that's the beauty of it. I told them, if I would know everything, I wouldn't be here sitting and asking you and telling you. I know how to do PR because I've done it for 2 years. I understand digital world because I've done it for 2 years briefly, 2.5 years. And I said, I also have a feeling y'all are also figuring it out because I've gone through your Instagram and your website.
Yeah.
They're like, see, we are from the IIMs and the top colleges, so we know marketing. I said, but would you all execute or would you all rather look at the business? There was silence and they said, okay, what do you think? I said, see, even I don't know, and that's a fashion brand, right? I said, I am not a fashion person. I don't understand fashion and the jargons at all. Let's do a courtship for 6 months. If this courtship works, good for both of us, we'll continue. the day it doesn't work, we'll part because you understand that you never want a marketing manager at this point. I will understand and don't want a fashion brand. Now that 6 months turned into 3 years. I helped them grow from 1.5 CR annually to 50.
Whoa.
A lot of strategy, consultation, PR, everything. And PR was solely being done by me. Now that journey, then 3 years I was there. And then, in a startup fast growing, you then feel that you've become a little saturated in terms of everything, right? Any marketing person will understand when it comes to saturation.
Yes, I agree.
When I came back, I got offers from 3 brands. One in curly hair care, one in the home decor, and one in normal lifestyle, right? I loved all 3. And I shared my ideas with all 3. I said, guys, just do this. Just take these ideas. Just take these gaps that I see.
Yeah.
See if it makes sense to you. See if this is what your problem, this is the problem you want to solve. If it doesn't, okay, but this is my first observation without even looking at your data, right?
Right.
All 3 gave me an offer letter. Now that's where I'm like, I want to work with all 3. What do I do? And I have never in my life thought about consultation, because consultation comes with its risk of, today I have the client, 3 months post, I may not. Everyone has a change of heart. Today you are at a place, tomorrow they will fire you, then what? I have been consulting for 3 years now, and it's been a fabulous journey.
I saw that accolade. Congratulations on that. And
Thank you.
In a way, it looks like you didn't find marketing, like marketing found you in various different ways. That's pretty interesting. Very always intrigued to know the story, because see, marketing is not a very, a career path that someone just chooses, right? It, like medical or even like artists, like creative work. It's something that either people stumble upon or they just get it by chance. Like my story is, one of, again, a surprise. By chance I stumbled upon this thing, which obviously I'm gonna tell the viewers on another episode, but it's always intriguing to hear how one gets into this field. So thank you so much for sharing that. I think it was so interesting to just hear it.